screen. Okay. I can't see Naren. Naren. Om Shri Ganeshaya Namaha. Om Shri Saraswatyai Namaha. Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Shruti Smriti Purananam Alayam Karunalayam Namaami Bhagavad Shankaram Loka Shankaram Samasta Jana Kalyane Niratam Karunamayam Namami Chinmayam Devam Sadgurum Brahma Vidvaram Mokam Karoti Vachalam Pangum Langayate Girim Yatkripatamaham Vande Paramanandamadavam Paramanandamadavam. Namah Shri Shankarananda Gurupadambujanmani Savila Samaha Moha Graha Grasaika Karmani. The last session we saw verses 26 and 27. Let's read them together. Bhrante swapna mano rajya smritishvastu mano mayam jagranmanena me yasya namano mayateti chet bādam manetnu me yena yogat syad vishayakritihi Bhashyavartikak ayyamartha udiritaha. The Purvapakshin, or you may say the person who is having a doubt, not necessarily by Purvapakshin we mean somebody who opposes, but it could be somebody who needs a clarification. So the Purvapakshin says, I am able to comprehend that where there is no exact physical object, as in the case of delusion, bhranti, in the case of swapna, dream, in the case of manorajya, which is daydreaming, and in the case of smriti, which is remembrance, memory. In all these cases, there is no exact physical object, but yet there is a cognition. There is a knowledge of an object, cognition. And in all these cases, because there is no physical object, so it becomes evident that it is only mental in nature. The object is mental in nature. In delusion, in dream, in daydream, and in memory. Therefore, it is clearly a case of Jiva Srishti. But he says, in waking state, through the mana, pramana, which is antakarana, the meya, the prameya, the object of knowledge, is contacted. The sambandha happening, and because of which there arises knowledge. So, the physicality, the truth, the existence of the object which is being contacted cannot be denied. The Siddhantan says, perfect, Bhadam, wonderful. There's no difficulty in accepting what you say. Yes, in waking state, there is an external object. But just because there's an external object, it doesn't mean that there is no internal cognition. The external object causes an internal cognition. What we would like to say is the external object is Ishvara Srishti, the internal cognition is Jiva Srishti. That's what we would like to say. We have never told you that there is no external object. We accept that there is an external object. And of course, in the case of dream, in the case of daydream, in the case of memory, in the case of delusion, the object is totally a mental cognition. There is no external object which is being cognized as an internal object. There is only an internal cognition. It is only a case of Jiva Srishti. But just because we said that there is Jiva Srishti, it doesn't mean that there is no external object. The external object is very much there. And the validity of the external object has been accepted by both the Bhashyakara as well as the Vartikakara. They are the sources of our knowledge. Both of them accepted that. Okay. So in this way, the thought is being developed further. And now we have two verses from Upadesha Sahasri, which is doubtlessly authored by Adi Shankaracharya. Why we say that? There's a commentary on it by Anand Giri, his disciple. There are certain texts of Adi Shankaracharya where doubts are raised whether Sri Shankaracharya really wrote it. Scholars adduce various reasons. They say that the language does not sound like his. They say that the thoughts do not seem as though original to Shankaracharya. Like that, they give various other reasons. Some of them could be true also. Because, you know, Shankaracharya, the name has been used for everybody. I mean, everybody means everybody in that parampara has been called a Shankaracharya. And there are 4 matas. And these 4 matas have a lineage of Shankaracharyas. And there have been very great saints among those Shankaracharyas, great masters. And they have written their own books also. And all of them go in the name of Shankaracharya. And therefore, doubts have been raised about the authenticity of so many books which Shankaracharya has written, like Tattvabodha, Atmabodha, and even texts like Viveka Chudamani. People have raised questions. And there is no way to answer all of them reasonably, because centuries have gone by. If I wrote something and you ask me, did you write? I can tell you I wrote it. Because I wrote it and you are there in front of me and you're asking me. Now, how can I ask Shankaracharya, did you write it or not? So that is very, very difficult. But we know for certain texts for sure Shankaracharya wrote, and one of them is Upadesha Sahasri. Doubtlessly, the Prasthanatraya, which are the Upanishads, the Bhagavad Gita and the Brahma Sutra, have been commented upon by Shankaracharya. There are other Upanishads they say was commented by Shankaracharya which are doubted. For example, the Shvetashvatara Upanishad, 11th Upanishad among the Dasho Upanishad, we say, Isha Kena Kata Prashna Munda Mandukya Tittiri Aitareyam Chandogam Bradharanyakam Tata. They are the 10 Upanishads. The Shvetashvatara is the 11th Upanishad. So they have a doubt whether Shankaracharya commented upon that. Then there is the Upanishad Nrisimha Tapani Upanishad. On that also we have a commentary of Shankaracharya. Some people say Vishnu Sahasranama, Shankaracharya's commentary is doubtful. You can easily raise hundreds of doubts after 1,500, 800, 2,000 years. Okay. To ask a question is very easy. But tradition, we have accepted them as authored by Shankaracharya for centuries. Notwithstanding those kind of debates, the Prasthanatraya definitely has been authored by Prasthanatraya. Commentaries have been authored by Shankaracharya. Then along with that, certain Prakarana Granthas like Dakshinamurti Stotra have been authored by Shankaracharya. Sureshwaracharya has done commentary on that. Manasa Ullasa. So we know for sure that these are done by Shankaracharya. And then one of them is Upadesha Sahasri. Definitely authored by Shankaracharya. So, 2 verses are from there. Let us read the verses and then I shall explain the meaning. Musha siktam yata tamram tannibham jayate tata rupadin vyapnuvachittam tannibham drishyate dhruvam musha siktam yata tamram The 14.3 Upadesha Sahasri, 14th chapter, 3rd verse. Yatha musha siktam tamram. Tamram is copper. Okay. Musha siktam. Musha is the mold. Mold, yes. Suppose we want to make the Vigraha of Bhagavan Shri Krishna. We make they make a mold out of it. Make a mold. And what they do is that they melt this copper or whatever metal and then they put in the mold. We have a Bhagavan Shankaracharya Vigraha, right? It was made the same way. They make first a mold of it and then they put the metal, the molten metal into it. And then this molten metal solidifies. Okay? And then they break the mold. And then you have that Vigraha, the entire form. So that is the example being quoted here. Yata musha siktam. Musha siktam meaning by contact with fire, the metal which has become a liquid. Dravi bhutam tamram. It is not just copper, but it is dravi bhutam tamram. The molten or liquid copper. When it is musha siktam, when it is poured into a mold, what happens? Tannibam jayate. Tannibam jayate. It takes the form of the mold. Mushakaram apnoti. Is it not? The molten metal which is poured into a mold takes the form of the mold. Clear? Example is clear? Okay. Tata, in the same way, Rupadin. See, Rupadin, the external forms. Form, color, shape, all those things. Sound. Rupadin. That is to, Rupadin is to say the external world of objects. Rupadin Vyapnuvat Chittam. In the place of mold, you have the forms, etc. And in the place of the molten copper, you have Chittam. Just as how the metal, molten metal, when poured into a mold takes the form of the mold, in the same way Chittam, the Antakarana, of course going through the senses, when it reaches the object, Tannibam, it takes the form of the object. Your own mind flowing through the senses, when it reaches the object, it takes the form of the object, like how the molten copper, when poured into the mold, takes the form of that mold. Tannibam drishyate dhruvam. Dhruvam means nishayam, certainly. Okay, it appears to have taken the form of the object. It takes the form of the object. So this is the first verse. So what is being communicated here? That there is an external object which the mind meets through which the pramana. You remember the word pramana, prameya, then pramata, then pramiti. Right? The pramana belonging to the pramata. Pramana, antakarana, belonging to me, the individual, the reflected consciousness. This antakarana, which is a pramana, going through the senses, reaches the prameya, the external objects, right? Contacts them, pervades that, and then takes the form of that object, and that form of the object which it takes is called as pramiti. So what is knowledge actually? Knowledge is nothing but the antakarana taking the form of the external object. That is knowledge. The antakarana taking the form of an object is what is called as pramiti. Okay? So here definitely there is an object. If there were not an object, what is the point of telling the antakarana has gone and met the object, connected itself with it, pervaded the object and taken the form of the object? That the Bhashyakar says that there is an external object which the antakarana meets itself is proof that we have given validity to external object. Sometimes people, they say world is projection of mind. They make such kind of statements like that. Okay? You have to carefully understand what they mean by that. The world is projection of mind means what? What do you mean world is projection of mind? What world are you talking of? The external world is there. Yes, the knowledge of the object that you have is the mind taking the shape of the object. And in that object, suppose you say nice object, that is projection of the mind. So when I say nice pot or beautiful pot, the pot is the external object. The beautiful is projection. Okay? So there is an unprojected element and there is a projected element. The projected element is Jiva Srishti, the unprojected element is Ishvara Srishti. Now, a little more clarity with one more example. You may wonder why one more example is given. See, in the case of this metal and all those things, the metal is first solid, then it is contact. When the contact with fire, then it becomes liquid. And then when it reaches the object, again it becomes, and then when it is put in a mold, it becomes again solid. But mind is not solid in contact with fire, it becomes liquid, and then it reaches the object and again it solidifies. You see, the example is too gross. You need a little more closer example to the facts. Even though the example communicates the mind taking a particular object very concretely. Even though that aspect of it is very, very clear, but yet there is too many physicality about the metal, which is first solid, then meeting fire becomes liquid, and then going into the mold, again becomes solid after cooling. That's a little bit stretched. And therefore, Bhashyakar gives another example, even though it clarifies one point most clearly, and that is that metal takes the form of the mold. The same way the mind takes the form of the object. There's clarity, but still there's perfection required in the example. Therefore, one more example. Let us read the next example. Vyanjako va yatha loko Vyangyasya karatam yat Sarvartha vyanjakatvadhihi Arthakara pradrishyate Vyanjako va yatha loko So next verse in Upadesh Sahasri, immediately following 14.4. Vyanjakaha va yata alokaha. So alokaha. Alokaha is kanti, light. Vyanjakaha. Vyanjaka is revealer or manifester. Light manifests object, reveals object, is it not? So alokaha, light, be it that of the sunlight or natural light, or be it an artificial light, whatever light, whatever be the light. Yatha alokaha, which is vyanjakaha, revealer, vyangyasya akaratam yat. Yat apnuyat. Okay, it attains. Just as how the light takes the form of the object. You see here? This is a little subtler. In the case of the copper, getting the molten copper taking the form of the object is very, very clear. Here you have to little bit sukshma, you have to see. Just as how light takes the form of the object. So light falls on you. Suppose there is no light, I don't see you. Now when I put the light, what happens? The light, you get bathed in light. Right? And then what do I see actually? Do I see you? I see the light image of you. Is it not true? Now all of you, I see some of you in the webinar there right in front of me. Suddenly I see sometimes one of you fade away. Then immediately I know current has gone off in your home. I can see that. Suddenly one person fades away, the person is dark. And after some time the current comes and immediately I see you. I see you means what? You are there. You are there. But I am not seeing you. Actually, what am I seeing you? I am seeing the light which has bathed you, and having that light image of you only I am seeing. Yes or no? Yes. Vyanjakaha va yata alokaha Vyangyasya. Vyangyasya, that which is revealed or manifested. Vyangyasya. Okay. Akaratam. Akaratam. Akaratam, the object. Okay. Akaratam, meaning that form, object form. Akara means form, isn't it? The light which falls on the Vyangya, the Vyanjaka light falling on the Vyangya. See this Vyanjaka and Vyangya, you see, you should get these two words correctly. Vyanjaka is revealer, manifester, which is light, alokaha. And what is Vyangya? Vyangya is that which is revealed or manifested, which is the object, which is a prameya. Vyangyasya akaratam yat. It takes the form of the object. Yata. Yata means just as. Yata va. Va is or. Va is or. Why or? Because one example is already gone before. The example of the molten metal tamra has gone. Now, second example, therefore, or. You can understand this way. Just as light falls on the object and it takes the form of the object. In the same way, sarvartha vyanjakatvat dihi. Dihi is antakarana pramana. Sarvartha vyanjakatvat. Why sarvartha vyanjakatvat is said? Light only reveals form. Light does not reveal sound. Isn't it? Light has no capacity to reveal sound. Light has no capacity to reveal smell. Light has no capacity to reveal touch. Whereas the sarvartha vyanjakatvat, it has capacity to reveal all the objects. The dhi going through the nose captures the smell. The dhi means antakarana. The antakarana, dhi means buddhi, antakarana. It represents antakarana. The antakarana going through the ear captures the sound. The antakarana going through the tongue, in the tongue captures the taste. Therefore, sarvartha vyanjakatvat dihi arthakaraha pradrishyate. Arthakaraha, the forms of all these objects. Artha means object. Pradrishyate, it manifests, it shows. Okay. Here there is no solidifying, liquidifying, nothing of that nature. Is there a word liquidifying? No. Liquidifying? Liquefying. Liquefies. Liquefy is a transitive or intransitive word? It can be both. Anyhow, this is not English class. Anyhow. So just as how, but here there is no solid, liquid, nothing of that. Light, but reveals everything. See the example, subtlety, you see. But here there is little more subtlety involved to understand how light takes the form of the object. So here again, what is proved? The object is there, light falls on it. The object is there, dhi captures it. Therefore, object is there. Therefore, Ishwar Srishti is there. And therefore, Bhadam, what you have said is correct. We accept it. So, two examples from Upadesha Sahasri, which is Bhashyakara. Is it not? Shankaracharya has written it. Now, it was said Bhashyakara and Vartikakara. So, an example now is given from Vartikakara, Sureshwaracharya's writing, and this is from the Vartika on Dakshinamurti Stotra, a well-known Vartika by name Manasollasa. Ullasa is delight. Manasa Ullasa, delight for the mind. What nice name. Delight for your thinking. A delight of thought. Okay. That is, now we are in verse number 30. Let us read it. Matur manabhinishpattihi nishpannam meyameti tat मेयाभिसंगतं तच्च मेयाभत्वं प्रपद्यते मातुर्मानाभिनिष्पत्तिः निष्पन्नं मेयमेति तत् मेयाभिसंगतं तच्च मेयाभत्वं प्रपद्यते. Remember, we had said 4 words you should remember. One is pramata, correct? Pramata is who? The individual consciousness, the individual reflected consciousness, Chidabhasa, Pramata. And what is the next one? Pramata contacts the Prameya. Prameya is what? Object of knowledge through the Pramana. Which is Pramana here? Antakarana. Antakarana. Right? Or D, whatever you want to say. And what happens finally? Pramiti or Prama happens. Knowledge. These 4 words you should keep in mind because all the 4 words are used now. Pramata, Prameya, Pramana, Pramiti or Prama. And you know that pra can be removed. Then not pra upasarga can be removed. Matuhu, Matuhu of the Pramatu, of the Pramata. Matuhu. 4 sentences are there in this. Matuhu manabhi nishpattihi bhavati. But bhavati is to be understood. Nishpannam tat nishpannam meyameti. Second sentence. Meyabhi sangatam bhavati. Third sentence. Tacha meyabhatvam prapadyate. Fourth sentence. 4 sentences are there. What is it? Matuhu of the individual knower. Pramatuhu. 6th case. Matuhu of the Pramata. Manabhi nishpattihi. Of the Pramata, for the Pramata, there is the Nishpatti. Nishpatti means Utpatti. There is a generation, can we say? There is a birth. The Pramata is born, he comes into being, or he comes through, or appears through the Pramana. Manabhi, that Mana is Pramana. So the Pramata kind of takes birth through the Pramana. What do you mean the Pramata takes birth through the Pramana? What do you mean by that? What is Pramata? Pramata is reflected consciousness. When you say the Antakarana contacts the object, please don't think Antakarana is inert. It has no capacity to go here or there. The Antakarana is empowered by the reflected consciousness. And the reflected consciousness is communicated to the sight of the object by the Antakarana. What, Swamiji? What do you mean by that? Reflected consciousness is Antakarana, is it not? Antakarana goes to the senses and meets the object, right? Is it not? Do you think Antakarana just goes like that? On the Antakarana rides the reflected consciousness. So you are born through your Antakarana. So when you touch the object, you are touching the object. It is like this. I am here, right? Now suppose I put my hand and touch him. Then what happens? I am extending myself and touching him. In the same way, the reflected consciousness through the Antakarana touches the object. Is it not?
Yes.
What Samji, is it not? We don't understand. You're saying, is it not? It is easy. It is nothing difficult. It is nothing difficult. Antakarna itself is jada. Antakarna has no capacity to do anything. But the Antakarna, on the Antakarna falls the reflected consciousness. The reflected consciousness becomes capable. And the reflected consciousness, the Antakarna becomes a conduit for the reflected consciousness to reach out through the object. Well, in the later chapters of the Panchadasi, this concept will be detailed a little more through such concepts such as vritti vyapti, phala vyapti, and all those things. Now is not the occasion for me to take in depth those kind of concepts. Here, the purpose is to say that there is an external object, that's all. So I don't think I'm going to be overly inspired to take up concepts which are not directly pertinent to the topic. Okay, all I would say is that hold this point in your question. Some of you may have studied vritti vyapti, phala vyapti and all. There are texts like Vedanta Sara, Viveka Chudamani, which details all these things. You must have studied, I know that. But for those of you, first time you are hearing that reflected consciousness travels to the Antakarana. First you told Antakarana travels to and meets the object through the senses, was clear. There was no problem. Now you are telling reflected consciousness goes. You see, when there is a wave, right? Wave, when there is a wave, and there is a reflection of the sun in it, is it not? The reflection of the sun is on the wave, correct? And from that lake and pond, if a stream of water goes, will not the reflected sun also go with that? There is a reflection there also. Where the Antakarana is, the reflection is also. Where can it go? But you know, we are so much used to think that we are here, and the idea of we going out is not so interesting for us. Actually, wherever I see, I am also there. Whatever I see, I am also there. Whichever I see, I am also there. I am also there means what? I am there as consciousness, pure consciousness, because Brahman is all pervading. That's a different matter altogether there. But I am there in that object also, pervading that object. Okay? Whatever object I like, I am there. Whatever object I dislike also, I am there. I am everywhere. One more example I can give you. Take mirror. All of us have done that in our childhood. Go to the terrace, take a mirror. Correct? And sun falls on that. And what we will do? Neighbor's home, window. Allow the light to go inside. Correct? And that auntie's face, you hit it. I'm saying auntie, okay? Auntie, and she looks, what is this? And then she closes the window because this young fellow there is doing all those things. Not only that, that uncle who's riding the bicycle or scooter on the road, put that light on his face. For a moment he is blinded. All those things we all have. Innocent people have done all those things. So that that mirror is like Antakarana. That reflected consciousness is you. And the reflected consciousness falls on the object and illumines the object. So what illumines an object? Antakarana cannot illumine an object because Antakarana is inert. Antakarana is dull. Antakarana is material. It has no effulgence. So what illumines the object? It is light alone which can illumine the object, which is consciousness alone can illumine the object. But what kind of consciousness illumines the object? Reflected consciousness. But what kind of reflected consciousness illumines the object? That reflected consciousness which flows through the pramana, antakarana, through the senses, illumines a particular object. So wherever there is knowledge, you are born as a revealer. Matuhu manabhi nishpattihi. That is the meaning. Matuhu of the pramatu, of the pramata, of the pramata, of the knower. Manabhi nishpattihi. There is the nishpatti, the utpatti, through the mana, through the mana, through the pramana, through the pramana, through the antakarana. And what does the reflected consciousness born through the antakarana do? Nishpannam tat meyameti. Nishpannam tat, that reflected consciousness born through the antakarana, meyam eti. Meyam is prameyam, the object. Yeti is it reaches. So two things. One is reflected consciousness born through the antakarana. And then what does the reflected consciousness do? The reflected consciousness through the agency of the antakarana, through the vritti, reaches the object. Step 2. And what is step 3? Meyabhi sangatam. Meyabhi sangatam. Sangatam means connection, union. Meyabhi sangatam means there is union now for that reflected consciousness which reaches through the antakarana with that object. So that antakarana which pervades that object, that is not just antakarana which is pervading the object. That is antakarana which is imbued with that reflected consciousness which is pervading the object. And for those who have already studied the Vedanta, let me give you some 2 points. What does that reflected consciousness do? What does that vritti do? That vritti, see, that vritti is not just vritti. That vritti has got also that reflected consciousness. Not only the vritti is pervading the object and forming the structure of the object, takes the shape of the object, but the reflected consciousness also does that. So these two things, what is the functional difference between the two? That vritti which covers that object, it dispels the ignorance, which is, so to say, veiling the object. So that part is there, is it not? That part I do not know. The vritti, when it reaches that, what it does is that it removes that ignorance. And when the vritti removes the ignorance, the light illumines the object. Just imagine an object, okay, which is covered with a bed sheet or some kambal or something like that, some dark cloth. One is to unveil that object, and second is to allow light to fall on the object. Two things are required. Every object is, so to say, covered by ignorance. So the vritti is like removing that kambal, removing that bed sheet. So what does the vritti do? The antakarana do? Dhi do? The antakarana removes the ignorance. And what does the reflected consciousness on the antakarana do, present in the antakarana do? That illumines the object. These two things are technically called vritti vyapti and phala vyapti. Vyapti, pervasion. Pervasion by vritti, the antakarana. Antakarana pervades the object. What does antakarana do pervading the object? Removes the ignorance pertaining to the object. And what does the light present in that antakarana do? Reflected consciousness present in the antakarana do? Reveals the object. One is a process of destruction of ignorance, another is the process of revealing the object. We are saying as though one after another, as though there are 1 second afterward is happening and all. These are all, even though philosophically, ideationally, one after another, in actual occurrence, realistically, these are kind of simultaneous. Even though we can ideationally show a difference, first this, second this, but it is not 1 second, 2 second difference like that, nanosecond. It just happens. So, meyabhisangatam bhavati. That pramatha, which flows through the antakarana, it takes it becomes connected with it becomes united with the object. And then what happens? This antakarana, this vritti, and that reflection. Fourth, tacha meyabhatvam prapadyate. Tacha antakaranam, that antakarana, meyabhatvam. Meya means object, prameya. Abha is that kind of form. Meyabhatvam, meya abha. Abhatvam, that formness. Prapadyate, it takes. So step 1, the pramatha flows through the vritti, antakarana, through the senses. Antakarana, pramatha, reflected consciousness, through the vritti, through the antakarana, flows through the senses. Step 1. Step 2, what? That antakarana with that reflected consciousness reaches the object. Step 3, what? That antakarana becomes connected with the object along with the reflected consciousness. Connected with the object. And step 4, what? It takes the form of the object. Of course, the concept of vritti vyapti, phala vyapti and all is not spoken of here, but I am just adding for your delight, in case you delight in such matters. Okay? Any of these concepts will be taken in detail later in the Panchadasi also. So what does it say? It says there is an external object which is contacted by the antakarana. And therefore, the idea of there should be an external object which we emphasize is very well accepted. I am not taking the position of the Buddhists who say that there is no world at all. There is only mind projection. I am not taking that stand. The Buddhist Vijnanavadins take that stand. What stand they take? There is no external object. There is only mind. Vijnanavadin, they are called as. Vijnana is mind. Vijnana is not science here. Vijnana is mind. Buddhi. Buddhi only, world is only Buddhi. We are not taking that stand. Advaitin, we take the stand that there is a Vyavaharika Jagat. There is a world. Vyavaharika. Vyavaharika means relative, transactional world, which will end in realization, Paramarthika Vastu. That is a different matter. One is pure consciousness, ultimate reality. Another is transactional reality, the world. But Pramiti or Prama is Jiva Srishti. Is it not? The object is Ishvara Srishti, but when the Antakarana goes and takes the form of it, that is my Srishti. Okay. And thus, through this concept of Antakarana going, taking the form of the object and all, both Ishvara Srishti is explained and Jiva Srishti also explained. Two things come out. What is Ishvara Srishti? What is Jiva Srishti? Becomes clear. One more verse is there which details on this very clearly. we'll take up in the next session. Okay. Anybody has got any questions, any doubts? Let me just see Vijay Nayar's question. Please click on that. Oh, he has removed it. Message you open. Vijay Nayar's message. That orange thing. The object itself is Ishvara Srishti. The antakarana of the jiva perceives the qualities of the object. So the qualities of object can be called as jiva Srishti. Is this correct, Swamiji? You please wait. Next class you'll get clarity on that. Okay? Next verse explains this, and in case it is not clear, then I will answer. Shubhani Chaitanya, yes.
Swamiji, so Manasolasa is a Vartika on Dakshinamurti Stotram, which is Drishti Srishti Vada, right? So how?
No, not necessarily so.
Not okay.
Not necessarily so.
Okay.
You see, there is a verse there. You see, Na na chidra ghatodara stita mahadeepa prabhabaswaram jnanam yasyatu chakshuradhikarana dwara bahispandate. Then you see, there definitely there is antakarana going through the senses and perceiving the object.
Okay.
Yes, the first verse you find Drishti. First verse, but that does not mean the entire text itself is Drishti-Shrishtivada. There are elements of the other Srishti-Drishtivada also in that. Okay. Mandukya is thoroughly in and through a Drishti-Shrishtivada text. Mandukya. Yoga Vashishta is also a Drishti-Shrishtivada text thoroughly. Mostly or thoroughly. I have not gone through it thoroughly, fully to say, but it is a Drishti-Shrishtivada text. Okay. Though you may say it's predominantly a Drishti-Shrishtivada text, predominantly, because it starts with a bang, with the Swapna example. But you will find elements of both if you carefully analyze. Okay, next question, please. Who's the third one? Vasuma, yes.
Swamiji, you said the objects outside are Ishvara Srishti, and what we see is the mental image of those objects. Do we get to see the objects as is, because we always color it with.
This question will be answered in the next verse.
Okay.
So you wait for the next verse and then we can discuss on this. It's in case it is not clarified. Okay. I think Ashaji, you got a question already. It is Raviji or Asha. Please, what is the question? In case there's no time, we can
Reflection
answer.
consciousness means we are referring to Chidabhas, right?
Reflected consciousness is Chidabhasa, yes.
That's it. Thank you, Swamiji.
Yeah. Once they finish, the question is over, you can lower the hand. We conclude. पूर्णमदः पूर्णमिदं पूर्णात् पूर्णमुदच्यते पूर्णस्य पूर्णमादाय ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। हरिः ॐ श्री गुरुभ्यो नमः। हरिः ॐ। Thank you very much.